Alrighty, everyone. Matt back here with another video for y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching this. It is August 14th, 2024. Happy, lovely Wednesday to everybody. We are going to talk about a lot of things today. We have a severe weather outbreak today and tomorrow and possibly on Friday. And we now, as of the 11 o'clock advisory this morning, actually, as I'm making this video, now have Hurricane Ernesto just off of the San Juan Islands here near the Leeward Islands. Now, a Category 1 hurricane with sustained winds of 75 miles an hour. This is now supposed to strengthen over the next couple days into a major hurricane before making landfall potentially near Bermuda and then working its way off to the northeast and potentially having some impacts maybe into Nova Scotia later on. But this does not pose any hazardous or crazy threats to the United States, so we can kind of throw that out the window. We could see some wave action off the coastline of the East Coast from Florida all the way up to the northeast, but it's minimal wave action. Just be mindful of the surge and the surf out there. But other than that, like I said, this is a major storm. This is going to be our fish storm, other than Bermuda having major impacts. We hope that our thoughts and prayers go out to people that are prepping for this and that do get impacted from this as well. But guys, Ernesto is strengthening, and we've been talking about the strengthening process for a little bit. You guys can see on your screen here, once again, Category 1 status of the 11 o'clock advisory. This is a 991 millibar low, moving northwest at 15 miles an hour, and wind speed is sustained at 75, and this is continuing to track its way north before curling northeast here, or northwest, and then curling northeast into a Cat 2 hurricane by later on tomorrow morning, and then eventually hitting Cat 3 status closer to 115 mile an hour winds, and then making landfall potentially near Bermuda or off the coast of Bermuda there as a Cat 2 hurricane. And then this coast there, it does track up towards Nova Scotia. And then we could be dealing with hurricane and more than likely a post-tropical storm once this gets up here with a jet streak that could kind of pull this thing apart. So we're going to watch this thing, continue to watch this, but look at the satellite imagery one more time, guys. This is a very, very impressive storm. We're actually beginning to see that center of circulation really start to become more defined over the next couple of hours here. We'll start to see that convection and intensification process go. And we'll actually look here at the clean satellite imagery, and you can actually see the convection around the center of circulation here. We did just have a little flare-up of storms that helped kind of produce those hurricane force winds that the hurricane hunter found in this storm. So Ernesto will continue to strengthen. Like I said, no impacts to the United States at all with this system other than Bermuda. So Bermuda, be, like I said, mindful. If you can evacuate, that would probably be a smart idea. If you can't, then hunker down and be prepared for a Category 3 or 2 hurricane to be kind of in your area here. So like I said, other than that, guys, that was our breaking news for today so far with Hurricane Ernesto. We have 2 other areas of potential development that we're watching. They're very weak development areas. We'll watch the one over here near Hawaii. We've got some typhoons ongoing over here in the parts of the North Pacific Ocean. But other than that, Ernesto has got all of the attention as far as the tropics go, as far as that goes for the next little bit. Now, there is some conversations that we could have some new shortwave troughs that could, or not shortwave troughs, some tropical waves that come off the coast of Africa over the next couple of days. So we're going to have to watch this area as we go through now and into the first week of September. So that's just kind of something we're looking at down the road. We'll keep you guys updated on that. But the main conversation that we are going to be talking about today is going to be the severe weather. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and know now, I will be live around 3 to 5 o'clock this afternoon, somewhere in that time frame. We'll be starting to do coverage this afternoon. We've actually got a pretty decent tornado risk today in parts of Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, and northwestern Kansas, or northwestern Missouri. And then tomorrow we could even have more of a significant event across the Ohio and Missouri Valley. And then on Friday, maybe into the Northeast if this, system can hold on to itself. So we'll go ahead and talk about the severe weather forecast for today. We have a marginal and slight risk today, level 1 in the green and level 2 in the yellow. And the conditional wind and hail threat expands out for much of the green risk area. We don't really start to see that tornado risk pop up until we get closer to the Central Plains here. So we're talking in that slight risk there. We have a 5% tornado risk and a 2% tornado risk. And I'll go ahead and show you guys here what that looks like. And like I said, this is, our biggest tornado risk we've actually seen in a little bit of time. Lincoln, Omaha, Interstate 80, Interstate 29, Kansas City, Des Moines. You guys are now in a 2 and a 5% tornado risk. And this basically means there's a 2 or a 5% chance of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile radius of a given location in this area. So be mindful of that today if you're driving in this area. So we could see a potential spin a tornado or 2 along a line or in supercells. The wind threat for as of right now as well is at a 15% and a 5% in the maroon. Widespread damaging winds could be possible anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour, and then more concentrated over the Omaha, Kansas City, Manhattan, and Des Moines area. And then as we also look at the hail threat, we do actually have a hatched hail risk now for Lincoln and Omaha, meaning we could see hail 2 to 4 inches in diameter. I would not rule out that apple-sized hail falling again. We had a couple reports yesterday of apple-sized hail back in eastern Colorado yesterday. So be mindful of this. Topeka, you're not in that hatched hail. Kansas City, you're not. In Manhattan, you're not. But be mindful, 2 to 3 inch hail could be scattered to isolated if storms can maintain updraft intensity. Outside of that, we got a 5% in the maroon as well. So that is going to be our forecast for today. And we'll also talk about the severe weather for tomorrow. And I'm more concerned about tomorrow. The low pressure system itself becomes a little bit more defined. We'll have a more defined cold front. We have a level 1 and a level 2 risk tomorrow. All of Illinois is in a slight risk tomorrow. All of Missouri is almost in the slight risk. And you're creeping that's closer and closer into Kentucky, parts of western Indiana, and southern Wisconsin. So we're going to have to watch tomorrow as well. I think tomorrow actually has a better tornado potential, in my honest opinion, based off of thermodynamics, shear, all of that stuff. So we'll just kind of watch and see what happens today into tonight, and what leads into tomorrow could be a little bit more of a different setup as far as what we're seeing. Now, once again, like I said, tomorrow's threat marginal in the green, slight into level 2 risks there. Kansas City, Springfield, Jefferson City, St. Louis, Springfield, Illinois, Bloomington, Davenport, and Chicago, and Madison, Wisconsin in that. And then you get into western Kentucky here as well, where we're at Louisville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis in that marginal. Now, tomorrow's risk as well, we do have a 2% tornado risk. This does include much of Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, and Wisconsin, a little sliver of western Indiana there. And I would expect this to potentially get expanded out a little bit more once we get the new day 2 update. I wouldn't be surprised if they do throw a 5% tornado risk in there, and we'll talk more why here on that in just a second. And then we will also have a damaging wind threat, a 15% wind threat, and a 5% wind threat. And then the hail threat also tomorrow will be 15 and 5%. So all modes of severe weather today and tomorrow will be likely. And then as we go to our day 3 forecast, we have a marginal risk of severe weather for your Friday. And this is going to accompany much of the Tennessee Valley, Mississippi Valley, Kentucky, the whole state of Kentucky. And this is basically going to be from a line of storms that starts on the western side of this risk zone on Friday morning and then works its way through Friday afternoon. So if you're on the western side of this, your storms will probably be ongoing overnight and then transition in the morning hours, and then this will clear out throughout the day, and then we'll see more storms initiate. Now, we could see an upgraded slight risk as well. The National Weather Service did hint at the potential for a slight risk somewhere in this area on Friday, so we'll kind of keep in mind on that, and we'll talk more about that in the video tomorrow if that does become a thing. But the next 3 days, guys, are going to be relatively active as far as severe weather goes, and it does start with today. So like I said, make sure y'all stay tuned to my videos. Make sure you guys look out for a live stream this afternoon. We'll be live streaming today, we'll be live streaming tomorrow, and probably on Friday. So make sure y'all come in and tap the screen and share the live out and let people know what's going on. Now, we are going to go ahead and run over what the models are showing with this. And so, like I said, as far as the overall idea of what we could be seeing for today, let's go to our composite reflectivity here. We do have showers and storms that are working their way through Iowa and Missouri this morning. We had a couple of flooding issues in southern Missouri last night from a complex of storms. Nothing severe out of these storms right now. These should continue to work their way east, and they should fizzle out. And then we'll have a new batch of storms initiate later on tonight. Now, the timing for today, or for today's severe weather, we'll see storms start to fire off around 4 and 5 o'clock in parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, and then back into the Rockies over here. But it doesn't look to be that our real risk for the slight risk area doesn't happen until after sunset, and that's probably going to be due to a little bit of a capping inversion, and that's basically a temperature inversion loft up in the atmosphere. We need those temperatures and dew points to be more together as far as numbers wise, and so it takes the sun going down and those temperatures to drop before they mix with those dew points, and you get lift in all of your mechanisms that you need for severe weather. So we'll kind of watch this today. The live stream, like I know, is scheduled between 3 and 5. As far as that goes, we might have to push it back. We'll just kind of see when storms initiate, but we will be live at some point today covering this for you guys. It looks to be that a line of storms develops up here. I would not be surprised if we get a slight risk added today as well to parts of South Dakota with that linear line segment that develops up there toward like Watertown, Chamberlain, Sioux Falls along Interstate 90. So be mindful of that. But it looks to be robust supercells popping up from Omaha, Lincoln, down to Manhattan, Topeka, Kansas City. And then we get more of a line that forms overnight tonight. And then you get this that works its way through Des Moines, Iowa City, you get, into Missouri with this. And then the leftover remnants of this potentially working its way through Illinois by sunrise on your Thursday morning and then into Indiana. But this is not what tomorrow's threat is going to consist of. Tomorrow's threat, we'll have a couple of rounds of cells. Supercells will probably be more ideal tomorrow as well. We could have a couple of line segments back into parts of northeast Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and into southern Illinois. But I want to watch these discrete cells that fire off once again late tomorrow night after sunset into parts of Missouri and Illinois. And this could become our overnight, maybe MCS, tornado event, damaging wind event. This is something we're going to have to watch going through Chicago. So we may have to stream tomorrow night as well overnight. We'll just kind of watch it and see what happens. Owensboro, Evansville, you guys here in Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, be watching out for isolated to discrete supercells throughout the day. We'll just kind of continue to watch this trend of what happens with this event tomorrow. But becoming more and more concerned about a damaging wind event up here into Illinois and Indiana. I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service does issue an enhanced risk for either damaging winds or hail. So that's something that we're going to have to watch as well. And then as we go into Friday, lots of storms firing off in Illinois. Friday morning, that line pushes through up into Ohio. So you guys can see much of a consistently wet and messy pattern over the next 48 to 48 to 64, 72 hours here into parts of the Ohio Valley between now and Friday. So this is something we're going to have to watch very, very closely. I just want to show you guys another thing as well, and that's going to be those, you know, rainfall totals over the next 3 days, what we could be looking at. And you can see where that heaviest rain is going to fall. And it could be from like North Dakota, South Dakota, all the way down here through Missouri into parts of Kentucky and even into Illinois. So this is something we're going to have to watch and monitor, as well as the severe weather threat. You always have a flash flood threat. Now, one other thing I do want to show you guys is going to be that tornado potential over the next 48 hours here. And we can start over here where that slight risk is at for today. Conditions for tornadoes are actually quite favorable near the Lincoln, Omaha area for any cells that can stay discrete or maintain linear fashion, discreteness in linear fashion. And then as we go through tonight, that tornado threat does ramp down. I think it peaks between 6 and 10 p.m. tonight. And then tomorrow, a more robust, kind of widespread tornado potential. I can see more leaning towards southern Wisconsin and Illinois. So this is also something we'll watch. And then on Friday, we could see a little bit of something potentially over the Ohio Valley. So not a lot as far as tornado potential, like super, super crazy, but there's something we have to be mindful of. There will be some shear in the atmosphere that can help potential for tornado genesis, along with the damaging wind and hail threat. So one other thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be that upper level jet stream pattern or mid-level jet stream pattern. What are we looking at right now? You guys can actually see our low is somewhere centered right here off the Rockies. This will be advancing today over parts of the Central Plains, and then that low is going to cross over the Central Plains later on this afternoon and tonight, and then we'll get more of a low setup north of us here into Illinois, into parts of Missouri, Iowa for tomorrow. You can see Ernesto also spinning off the coastline there. That's not going to have any impacts, as I said earlier, to the United States, but we start to enter more of this active severe weather pattern over the next little bit, and this is something we're going to have to watch very, very closely between now and this weekend and into next week. We could see potentially even another trough set up for next week for more severe weather potentially. So this is just going to be, we're going to see this once again northwesterly flow over top of a ridge with a heat dome set up over the Four Corners and Southern Plains. Excessive heat warnings and excessive heat watches will be in place for much of Texas, the Four Corners, the Southern Plains. So be mindful of how much time you're outside. Make sure you stay hydrated, drink water with sunscreen as well. But this is going to continue to aid in the potential for severe weather for the Central Plains, Northern Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley throughout the pattern time here, basically, is what I'm saying. So this is something we're going to watch for you guys. Once again, guys, stay tuned for a live stream this afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m. We'll make that call, and I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. Be safe, be weather aware, have a way to get weather alerts, and I'll talk to y'all later.